Depuis hier matin, je regarde ma montre en train de regarder, j'étais étonnée.
I was going to ask if you wanted it on Netflix Kids, but they... What?
Can you grab the spoon?
What spoon? This one?
Yep.
What am I doing?
Boiling. Alright, here we are, 1 hour and a bit later actually. It's been a bit longer than the hour that I thought it would be, but that's okay. That just means we'll get more of the sugars out. So I intended to tie this to this and hoist it out. I'm not entirely sure if that's necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway because why not? But I messed up my tie, didn't I? What a dickhead. And this isn't a good idea. Alright, let's just do this the way I was going to do it. Shane? Can you come here for a very quick second? Can you pick up the colander and put it under this?
You're losing a lot.
Fucking hell! We need a bigger colander. That's what I've learned. Yeah, that's the one. Right, probably don't need it now. I reckon I've got this just situated. Nah, leave it. I reckon that'll sit like that for a few minutes. As you can hear, the water is on, the temperature is on. I've got my sparge water sparging over here. Well, I've got my stuff soaking in it. As you saw earlier, I splashed water and, well, I made a mess. Perfect, so that has just taken us just under the max line, which is spot on where I was hoping it would end up. There you go, calculate your sparge water. So this will take some time to come up to the boil. We'll let it do that. And we'll be back when it's at the boil. Hey, so we're getting up there in temperature. Sorry, that was my garage door closing. We're almost at 83 degrees at the moment. This, for anyone who's wondering, is a, I believe, 1250 watt. Sorry, it's a 2000 watt Still Spirits Turbo 500 boiler, for anyone who is wondering. And we're up around about 82 degrees now. It's only been heating up for It's only been heating up for 18 minutes and it's gone from 60 to 80, so that's pretty good. So we're getting close to the water, to the boiling here, and as you can see, this foam starts to form on the surface. So I just like to scrape that out, because later on, as you get brewing, that'll turn into a bit of a head and make a bit of a mess, and also it will lead to cloudiness in your brew, in your finished brew. And whilst I'm happy to accept a little bit of cloudiness in my homebrewed beer, I don't want it to look like a wheat beer. Alrighty, we're about to hit a rolling boil here. I'm just going to keep scraping some of this stuff off as it comes up to the surface, and try and attempt to prevent this thing from boiling over on me, because that would be awful. Cool. Nice. Perfect. So we're going to make our first hop addition, which is 12.5 grams of Perle, and 25 grams of Hallertau. Cool. Well, that doesn't seem to be bothering it too much. Let that mix for a bit. Come back in 15 minutes for our second hop addition. We have a minute and a half until our next hop addition. this hop addition will be 25 grams of Cascade, my favourite hop. I love Cascade. It's a very, very fruity tasting hop. I genuinely enjoy it. So in 1 minute and 20 seconds, we will be adding that Cascade in here. And there's my alarm. Let's add our 25 grams of Cascade and see what we have to deal with as it boils up. I haven't all broken up yet, so we're not out of the clear yet. Here it comes. That's not so bad. Smells absolutely delicious though. And we'll be back here for another edition in another 15 minutes. Alright, we're up to our 30-minute edition. Another 25 grams of Cascade. Now at this point, we certainly shouldn't be getting any major hop break, so I'm not too worried about it. I am sort of still sitting here monitoring it, but you know, it doesn't really need a lot of attention at this point. It just does its own thing. It shouldn't boil over at this point. If it does, you're doing something wrong. But yeah, in another 10 minutes we'll be adding our next Cascade addition. Here we go, second last hop addition. In it goes.
What were they?
Those were hops. You gonna go get dressed so you can go to your party? It only starts in an hour.
What is this?
This is for measuring the alcohol in stuff. It's also sticky. It's also...
Could have warmed it up before.
You picked it up before you asked me what it was. Alrighty, we've come to our final hop addition, which is 10 minutes before the end of the boil. Let's do that. Give it a quick stir and await the end. Alright, so we're at the 5-minute mark right now. That's 5 minutes to go. I'm going to turn the power off because obviously we need this to start cooling down. I'm also going to put this lid on it. The steam will sanitize that for me, as well as that over the top, just to keep all the ball bearings out. Basically now I'm going to start getting prepared to siphon or to transfer the prepared wort out of here into my fermenter. It occurs to me that it actually doesn't really matter if the wort is aerated at this point. Just make sure that tap is off. Because I do have to aerate it anyway prior to pitching the yeast, so I'm not too worried. I'm now transferring the wort from the boiling vessel, the brewing vessel, the pot, whatever you wish to call it, to my fermenter, which is slowly happening. Look forward to an upgrade to this device to put a proper 1/2 inch or 12mm ball valve on there. That will speed this time up. As you can see, it is quite a dark beer. I'll bring you down here. Let's get you out of the aerial view. Alright, we're back in handheld mode. Back to a normal perspective. So, obviously that's the fermenter, the boiling vessel. After use I did have a bit of a splash. As you can see, lots of streaks of sticky material that I'm going to have to wash off. I've just stood on something very sharp and I don't know what it is. But as you can see, very dark beer, which was the intention. That was why we added the chocolate malt in there. But the other delightful upside of using the chocolate malt is that this beer has a well, before I hopped it, I tasted the beer myself, and it has an almost Milo-y malty flavour while it's sweet. So we'll see how that translates to a finished beer. Let's get that over into the sink of water. Alrighty, sorry about the noise of running water. I'm currently filling the sink in my laundry, as you can see. I got to get this down to 30 degrees or less as quickly as possible. Currently at 82 degrees, so I apologise about the noise. I'm sure I'll put some music over it. Well, you can definitely say I got back in time, can't you? Wowzers. I did get a big thing of ice cubes. Unfortunately, there's nowhere I can put them. So I need to do some emergency plug removal. There we go. Whew. That'll do. Now we dump some ice in. We're down to apparently 65 degrees now. Let's swirl that water around a bit, but it says 65.1, 64. Cool, temperature's going down really quickly. Leave that to it for a bit. Alrighty, hey there folks, we're back in the laundry. It's about an hour later and we're down to about 32 degrees at the moment. I've changed the water about 3 times at this point. Now I'm going to take it out to the shed and put it in my what do you call it? I'm going to put it in my fermentation chamber, which is just an old fridge with a temperature controller on it, and leave it there for the next 2 to 3 weeks at 17 to 18 degrees centigrade with an airlock on top, which I've got out in the shed. You just put a little bit of water in that and it does its thing, it bubbles away. I'll check the specific gravity before I put the yeast in though, and then leave it for a couple of weeks. Alrighty guys, I apologise about that beeping, it's my temperature controller. I've set this up in here. I've got my hydrometer floating in here. It's sitting at 1.055. And it tastes amazing. Obviously still very sweet. I hope you can avoid caring too much about that beeping noise. Got here my pouch of US-05 yeast. I'm just going to sprinkle that on top. That's all you need to do. Sit the lid back on, tighten that down. Yeah, bit of water in our airlock. Wedge that down in there, and then I usually just give it a bit of a squeeze just to make sure that it's sealed. Yep. Cool, we have a seal. That's pretty much it guys, that's a brew day for me. The only thing that you didn't see is cleaning the bottles and the bottling of the previous batch. But needless to say, if people want to see that, I'm happy to show it next time. Thank you for tuning in guys. See you tomorrow.
Cheers Club.